The following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics. This week, I'm Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show host. You can hear my shows Monday through Friday, 5 to 9 a.m. on WVNN in Huntsville, and from 10 until 11 on Talk 99.5 in Birmingham. With me this week, not Mecca Music, obviously. Yaffee is here. He's a talk show host on WVNN as well. You can hear him from 9 until 11 after my show, and then on the you can hear him also from 2 until 3 on the Yaffee Hour. Our guest this week is another talk show host from the Daily Controversies, Christopher Reed. He will join us. You can hear him on that station from 12 until 2. That's a lot of numbers. I've given you a lot of stuff, but we got a lot to get into here today. So stay tuned. Let's get to the 2-minute warning. All right, Yaffee, do we need a cleared check? I think it's a pretty clear question here. Do we need a clear check for people to say, hey, maybe there was something up with Joe Biden and what was going on with his son and all these other things? I mean, I have a lot of questions on the table about this, like who's the big guy? Why did his father need keys to his office? Why was he meeting and making calls to his business associates? All these other things. But I've been assured by people that work at the White House and some in the media that if there isn't a clear check, then Joe Biden wasn't on the Articles of Incorporation for the business. Nothing to see here. Do we need something like a literal smoking gun here in the form of a check or something to say Joe Biden's involved in this with his son, the grifting?
I'm not even sure that would work at this point, Dale. You were talking about how I've had questions about this. I really haven't had questions. I've pretty much known who the big guy was. I pretty much knew what was going on here, and it's just the media knows. They know what's going on. They understand. So they're just kind of playing cover right now.
I kind of wonder about this a lot when we talk about this story. Is it really something where eventually there's going to be a turning point? And you always think that there might be where then, okay, we open up the door and you know all scandals have a little bit of bubbling and then they just blow up. Well, this has been bubbling for going on 2 years now, plus actually longer than that. But it's just simmering, and it's day after day after day, piece after piece after piece. What could it be? I mean, does Joe Biden have to have, like I say, a clear check? Does it need to say pay to Vice President Joe Biden? And then, like in the memo, it says corruption. I mean, is that what we need? Is that what we're looking for?
You know, I think it's going to be what happens in the polls. So if they start seeing in the polls that this is really affecting his election, then you're going to start seeing Democrats and the media worry because they're going to want to move him to the side and maybe put someone else there.
There's all this talk about moving to the side. I don't think that's going to happen. I think defense is going to be played for quite some time on this. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the Riverfront Rumble. That's right, down in Montgomery. You saw this thing, and it was, I'll just be honest, it was beautiful. I really enjoyed almost every part of this. The bad guys got what they deserved. There was a little overreaction, I believe, in the guy playing the Stone Cold Steve Austin role of smacking people in the head with steel chairs towards the end, especially when he whacked the woman who was sitting on the ground. That was probably a bit much, which is why that individual finds himself wanted by the police. There's been a lot of talk. In the early stages of this, the mayor of the city of Montgomery was asked, is there any evidence that there's any racial element to this? And he said, we haven't seen it. We can't say yes or no. The FBI's looked, they can't say that there was. But then MSNBC came calling for Stephen Reed, and his attitude started to turn a little bit towards this. Look, I'll be the drunk guy on a boat expert here for a second because I've been in that situation a lot. It's obvious what happened. Hey, move your boat. Make me. That's essentially the gist of this. I think they were just trash. Yaffee, racist or just trash?
I mean, I don't know for sure. Does anyone really know for sure? We can't get into their hearts. We can't get into their minds unless there's some kind of direct evidence. I'm just going to assume they were just trash. By the way, shouldn't we call it the Montgomery Melee?
No,
Isn't that?
no. It's
the Rockets.
It's the Riverfront Rumble. Let's make sure.
Call it the Rockets.
Well, if it happened up here, it would be the Rocket City Rumble. But that's already a thing up here, so you can't do that. Riverfront Rumble is the appropriate branding. This is the part about this that really blows me away. And we have a bunch of people that want this to be something. And they've just decided it was. You show me it's racist, I'll gladly say it's racist. If they're doing something here, that's fine. But you've had multiple people, including one guy right in the middle of it, and the boat captain saying this wasn't racist. They've had problems with these guys before on the boat. Arrest everyone who started the fight and arrest the guy with the chair, which looks like they're trying to do. And I think you've got the right thing here. But I think calling this a racist thing is just probably a bit much. Let's talk about another city and something dumb happening there. That would be the city of Birmingham. Mayor Randall Woodfin, he says, why don't we go out and build a train? Why? Well, because Donald Trump and Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth said, why don't we build a road? And they say, let's widen 65 from Birmingham down to Mobile. Donald Trump comes into town and says, let's widen it from the state line in Tennessee to Mobile. We're talking probably $1 billion or more for this. Who knows? But what we do know, probably way more than that, actually, now that I think about it. The train that was suggested would cost $51.6 billion by some estimates. A completely insane thing, a train that nobody would ride except maybe once a year. Is he serious about this? Yeah, is the mayor of Birmingham serious when he says, hey, don't widen I-65? There's no evidence that will alleviate congestion.
Can you imagine if you're driving on I-65 and you're stuck in traffic and then a fast train goes by? You know how mad you would be if that was the case?
Especially if nobody was on the train.
That's probably how it would be. Most likely, for some reason, Democrats love trains.
Yeah,
they think it helps global warming and public transportation is great. No, fix the road first.
The part that is amazing is people talk about this train like it's going to be something that's going to help people in Birmingham, help people in Montgomery, and help people in Mobile. Based on the way they're framing it, it's just a direct shot from one city to the next. That's not something that helps people get to work. It's none of those things. And then they make up these magical scenarios of people who are going to get on the train and ride it down to the beach. And I'm just like, have you ever been to the beach? Because, you take all this junk with you, and you're never going to do that. And it's very strange. And I've ridden the Amtrak from Birmingham to New Orleans. It is not a family experience. I'll just tell you that much right now.
Does not sound fun to me.
And it is very slow. You get the high-speed rail. Maybe people will take it on vacations. Maybe they will take it for fun times. But it's not a functional thing. It's not something that you'd spend 17 times the annual state budget of Alabama on. It makes no sense.
And not fix the road.
Not fix the road. Oh, if you did that, you would spend money on nothing else. No salaries for state employees, no roads, no nothing. You would just go ahead and buy the train and enjoy that. All right, let's talk about free speech here for a second. This trial with Donald Trump, the one that really bothers him the most is apparently this January 6th thing. And I don't understand that. I think he's got a much bigger issue with the document issue at Mar-a-Lago. But something about this January 6th case has made Trump even crazier when it comes to how he behaves on True Social. That's a site that people take screenshots on and then post it on Twitter so everyone else can see. X, excuse me.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Correct. You're right about that. But the stuff he's saying on there is nuts. But what they want to do, Yaffe, is they want to say he cannot say those things. He's not allowed to talk about the case and all these other things. It makes it look to me like they are actually trying to play in the election. That's how it looks to me. If they do actually tell him he's not allowed to talk about the case, everyone else he's running against, Joe Biden, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Marianne Williamson, whoever else is running here, they're going to talk about this case, and then they're going to tell the guy who's involved in it that he can't talk about it. That's freedom of speech being infringed. I don't like it. So freedom of speech or no, he doesn't need it.
Yeah, I think it's a freedom of speech issue, but this whole thing is about election interference. How do we know? Because we know if it were Joe Biden who is in the same situation, none of this would be happening. So that's Trump's best defense. I mean, really, that they let Joe Biden get away with things, they let Hillary Clinton get away with things, and they're not going to let Trump get away with it. In terms of why he's obsessed with the January 6th aspect of it, he's just obsessed with the 2020 election.
Okay, I think that's right.
That's really what it is.
I think a lot of people argue Donald Trump's gotten away with a lot. Donald Trump's done things that most people couldn't get away with, but criminally, they're really coming for him now. I mean, that is it. And as much as people think it helps him, this I think could really hurt him if they muzzle him. And then the question becomes, what if he refuses? What do they do to him? Do you hold him in contempt? Do you remand him to Mar-a-Lago? You can't put him in jail. He's never going to jail. That's never happening. They might do 1,000 other things to him. Home confinement. He's never going to jail. What do you do to a guy who you can't really punish?
I have no idea. Is there going to be a war at Mar-a-Lago with the Secret Service and the cops? I mean, what is happening? I don't know.
Don't get me excited about that. I think that sounds awesome. That is a great movie. I also have another pitch for a movie I'll make right now. They send President Trump to prison, and they send a Secret Service agent. He doesn't get along with him to protect him. And it becomes a buddy comedy movie. Can they actually survive? All right. That's what I would do. All right. Enough of that. Coming up next, Christopher Reed will be with us. He's a talk show host as well. We'll have a conversation with him about some of these things and a whole lot more. Stay tuned.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my friends at University Kia. Now look, I love Kias. I've driven plenty of them. I used to have a Kia Sportage. When my son was born, my wife said, no, we got to get ourselves one of these big SUVs. The Telluride from University Kia is an absolutely amazing vehicle. You get it at a great price, but you get everything at University Kia at a great price. Learn more about them today. Head on over to universitykia.com. Find the perfect vehicle for you, new and pre-owned. They got it for you. universitykia.com.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Do you use pesticides in your job, specifically Roundup? Then keep watching for details on how you could be compensated for the damages done to your health. Roundup, made by Monsanto, contains a chemical called glyphosate, which has been linked to cancer. If you've used Roundup and you have cancer, you may be entitled to a cash award. Over $10 billion has been set aside to pay users of Roundup who've been diagnosed with cancer. Time is almost running out to file your claim. So if you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've used Roundup, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. We're here 24/7 to help, and time to file is almost gone, so please call right now.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here, and this is my son, Grant. Now, I'm here to talk to you about Top Shelf Customized Cleaning. He's a handful, I'm a handful, and if I want to stay married, I need Top Shelf Customized Cleaning to come and take care of my house. They do an amazing job for me, and they'll do an amazing job for you. Cindy loves them, I love them, Grant loves them as well. Check them out on Facebook, Top Shelf Customized Cleaning. And don't forget, call them today, 256-417-9122. And when you talk to them, make sure you tell them Grant sent you.
WVNN is the only radio station of relevance in North Alabama, with the most live and local talk you'll find anywhere. Start your day with the Dale Jackson Show every morning at 5 a.m., followed by the Yeffy program at 9. Dan Bongino is up at 11. Right Side Radio starts your afternoons at 2. And Mark Levin takes you home at 5 p.m. It's the best news talk anywhere. And it's only on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM. WVNN.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. With me this week is Yaffe because Mecca Music is out. And joining us this week as a guest is another talk show host, Christopher Reed. He is a talk show host on the Ump in Huntsville. His show is on from 12 until noon. It's the Daily Controversy. And let's start with a little bit of controversy here. You have Joe Biden, you have Hunter Biden, you have $20 million that House Republicans say, okay, this is the smoking gun. And mostly the national media has gone, yeah, but did Joe Biden sign the back of the check? I don't think so. So it looks like maybe this isn't anything at all. Christopher, is this something or is this nothing?
Yeah, it's a big deal, obviously. I mean, I think the question is going to be for the House Republicans. Are they actually going to do something? Because we get a lot of strongly worded letters, and that really doesn't do much. I mean, every appropriation bill starts in the House. You have the power to actually do something about this. They have to seize on this. It's very, very obvious that Hunter took a ton of money from foreign sources. His dad knew all about it. The evidence is overwhelming. And you're not talking about him, taking a payoff from, somebody in America. You're talking about him taking payoffs from the Chinese Communist Party, the Russians. I saw that this was also from Kazakhstan. I mean, this stuff is completely insane. If this was, it goes without saying, if this was Trump, he would be freaking out. But yeah, is the national media going to cover it? I think they will reluctantly. But I think we're going to have to push an impeachment inquiry, and that's the only way you're going to get what you need to push this stuff forward. But it's the greatest single corruption scandal as far as monetary in the history of the presidency. I can't even compare this to anything in our past. So, yeah, it's a huge deal, and I hope they do something about it because it looks like Biden's been bought off by our enemies.
Well, yeah, and you talked about Joe Biden being bought off. It seems like some defend him because they say, well, this is really something Hunter was doing. Joe himself wasn't really involved. What do you think about that? What would your response be?
It's so obvious. Look, Devin Archer said that like 20 different phone calls that, Biden was on there. And sure, I doubt Biden said, hey, if you guys pay my son, I'm going to do exactly what you want. But the reason he called them was to let them know, like, hey, I'm involved in this. I want you guys to realize that, my son's kind of running this scheme. And it's the most obvious corruption scandal. Do we really think that there's going to be, like, some document out there where Biden says, hey, listen, if you give my son X amount of money, I'm going to do whatever you want? We all know how the game is played. And if that's the standard, if it's standard that the media is trying to push on you, no one would ever be convicted for corruption. This is so obviously corrupt. It's pay to play. So, yeah, look, they're going to defend the Democrat no matter what because, most of them are Marxist. But any American with a brain, a functioning brain, is going to see this as corruption, and they're going to be appalled by it.
Again, I think your question at the beginning is what are the Republicans going to do about it? The impeachment inquiry is one thing. I just think you just have to continue bringing out new information over and over and over again, hoping that someone's finally going to pay attention to it. But I looked on Thursday morning the morning after all this dropped, and I just went on Google and typed in 20 million Joe Biden. And the information there was not probably what it should be at the top of the page. You had the New York Post, and then after that it was a bunch of blogs, and then way down there you had like the Guardian, and there just was not anything until you got to a CNN article that said, well, here's why this isn't a big deal. That's sort of the angle they took on this. And I'm just like, man, that's a hard position to kind of drill yourself into. I want to jump to Donald Trump and his legal problems because this is great that we have two presidential candidates both facing a bunch of legal problems potentially. The free speech side of the Donald Trump issue. Yaffe and I were just talking about the January 6th stuff and how Donald Trump seems so fixated on that particular issue when he has all these other legal issues going on as well. I think the freedom of the speech one is a big deal. They seem to be fast-tracking that trial. They want that trial in January, and they're also fast-tracking all of the hearings, gag orders and protection orders and stuff like that. Could they potentially truly gag the former president of the United States? You have a legal background. What do you think about that? Is that a freedom of speech issue?
Yeah, it's a huge freedom of speech issue, but all the charges they're bringing here are basically trying to destroy the idea of political speech and the idea that, politicians are going to be able to rally their bases and make strong statements. If we're going to start restricting that and trying to say that if you say anything and then somebody does something that they're not supposed to do, you are responsible. well, that's going to be applied to the Democrats very quickly once there's a Republican office. But, I mean, as far as will they go forward with it, yeah. I mean, look, this is an Obama-appointed judge. She has a history of going after, people associated with the January 6th controversy pretty hard. She's already denied even the reasonable requests from Trump's attorneys on this. I don't understand it strategically. Like if it was me doing it and I was trying to screw things up for the Republicans, I wouldn't want to do this in January. I'd want to do it later so he'd already be the nominee. But I guess they just really want to get him. But yeah, I mean, they could make this happen in January. They absolutely could do that. Do I think it's going to end up being January? I just don't know. But it doesn't seem like they're going to give the defense any of the things they're asking for. So sure, it could be January. And then you got a very interesting thing with the primary, because if they convict them before there's really votes, especially you're talking about the early primaries, that will definitely affect who's going to be the nominee of the party, no doubt.
Well, how would that affect who's going to be the nominee? I mean, do you honestly, is it that if Trump is convicted, he's not going to be on ballots, or people aren't going to want to vote for him, or does it maybe help Trump? Maybe he does better.
That's a good point. Like, first of all, constitutionally, you shouldn't be able to take anybody off the ballot, even if they're in jail. However, do I think that certain states that are run by Democrats are going to try that? Yeah, of course they're going to try it, because they understand that they want to win, and they don't care about the social compact, and they do not care about the Constitution. So they're going to do everything they can. If they can get them off the ballot in swing states, they're going to get them off the ballot. Is that going to be constitutional? No, but is a court going to overrule that quickly enough to fix it? I have no idea. We've never seen anything like that. Also, I just think that, whenever you're getting indicted for something and not being convicted, people are going to rally around you. They're going to see this as persecution. And, yeah, I think that the average Republican sees the January 6 charges as BS. They are absolutely BS. But if you're trying to win an election, you're just not going to do that if your primary person you're running is facing house arrest. How is he supposed to logistically do campaigning if he's on house arrest? I don't think they're going to put him in jail. Let me just throw that out there. Logistically, it'd be impossible with the security concerns of the former president. But if he's confined to Mar-a-Lago or something like that, well, how's he supposed to do his campaign rallies? It's going to be difficult for him to raise money. That's going to kill him with independence. And I think at some point the Republicans are going to have to think with their head and not their heart, and realize, like, hey, you got a young governor who won a purple state by 20 points. He could easily win this national election, and we can just dominate everything, or we can just worry about everything going on with Trump. It's not a winning strategy. So if people want to do that, I guess they can. Is it going to be effective? No, that will not win. That will not work. And I just think any person that's being objective and talking about facts here, it's just not going to lead to a Republican in the White House in 2025.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do, though. But yeah, that's what I think. I just want to hit the free speech thing real quick. We got about a minute left here. On the free speech issue, telling gag orders, protective orders, things like that, saying he can't tweet about this, he can't do that, Truth Social about it, whatever. He can't do any of those things. Is there a constitutional issue there?
Yeah, definitely, because this is a completely different case. But generally speaking, protective orders are enforced pretty rigidly, and this judge, if he breaks what they tell him to not talk about, I'm pretty sure she's going to hold him in contempt. I mean, that's just my analysis of the situation.
Yeah, he's got a legal mind there. Christopher Reed, thank you very much. The Daily Controversy on the Up in Huntsville from 12 until noon, Monday through Friday. Check him out there. Thank you very much for being here. Yaffe, thanks for filling in for Mecca. Now go, and the show is going to get a lot better. I promise you that. I've got the party shot coming up right here on Alabama Politics this week.
Want fun, safe, intelligent fitness programming? Want to build muscular strength, cardiovascular endurance, drastically improve range of motion and mobility, and learn proper nutrition to fuel your life with energy and emotional health? Well, come find out why Iron Tribe Fitness is ranked one of the top 5 fitness programs in America. Come find out why personal training and intentionally working on your current movement patterns individually is not only important, it's just another core value that separates Iron Tribe Fitness from other fitness facilities.
To learn how to get your 2-week free pass, go to irontribefitness.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here, and this is my son, Grant. Now, I'm here to talk to you about Top Shelf Customized Cleaning. He's a handful, I'm a handful, and if I want to stay married, I need Top Shelf Customized Cleaning to come and take care of my house. They do an amazing job for me, and they'll do an amazing job for you. Cindy loves them. I love them. Grant loves them as well. Check them out on Facebook. Top Shelf Customized Cleaning. And don't forget, call them today, 256-417-9122. And when you talk to them, make sure you tell them Grant sent you.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 855-315-5699. That's 855-315-5699. 855-315-5699. That's 855-315-5699.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my friends at University Kia. Now look, I love Kias. I've driven plenty of them. I used to have a Kia Sportage. When my son was born, my wife said, no, we got to get ourselves one of these big SUVs. The Telluride from University Kia is an absolutely amazing vehicle. You get it at a great price, but you get everything at University Kia at a great price. Learn more about them today. Head on over to universitykia.com. Find the perfect vehicle for you, new and pre-owned. They got it for you. universitykia.com.
WVNN is the only radio station of relevance in North Alabama with the most live and local talk you'll find anywhere. Start your day with the Dale Jackson Show every morning at 5 a.m., followed by the Yeffy program at 9. Dan Bongino is up at 11. Right Side Radio starts your afternoons at 2. And Mark Levin takes you home at 5 p.m. It's the best news talk anywhere. And it's only on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics this week. I'm Dale Jackson. We're about to get to that parting shot. Stay tuned for that. First, though, let me remind you 7 things you should be talking about today. An email blast I send out, and it goes right to your email. You know the 7 things you should be talking about that day, Monday through Friday. I try to do it on vacation. I try to do it on holidays. Not always do, but almost every day. The 7 things you should be talking about today right there at yellowhammernews.com. Go check it out. Go sign up for my email blast. As of for right now, let's go ahead and get to that parting shot. My parting shot this week is directed at my friends at ale.com because once again, they have done something that I absolutely despise. They have taken the position that maybe we're being too hard on moms who are doing drugs while they're pregnant. I know that sounds insane, and it absolutely should, but this is a position they've held for quite some time, and they continue to push over and over and over again. Their argument, of course, is that it doesn't really help anyone to arrest somebody who had a baby that was addicted to drugs. And one of the stats that they use is so disingenuous. They say that from 2016 to 2020, the number of people being arrested for this is actually going up. Therefore, it's not working. That's their logic because it's supposed to stop people from doing it. They ignore, of course, the fact that there has been a big increase in the number of people on opioids in that time frame. We have had a lot of problems in this country with addiction. And also, alternate point, screw those moms. I don't care what happens to them after they do this to their kids. We can rehab them, fantastic, but it's about punishment. And sometimes it's just about punishment. I mean, sometimes it's bloodlust, and that's okay occasionally. You're not always trying to fix the world. Sometimes you're just trying to harm people. And in this particular case, putting someone in jail for harming their child, I'm okay with that kind of harm. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for watching Alabama Politics this week. We shall return. Hopefully, Mecca will be back. Stay tuned.